Due to an injury to his right hand, he was forced to discontinue playing classical guitar and started the new career of writing. He is totally devoted to writing and teaching. He continues revising the works of Wester Edgerly and also writes his own books. He has completed 3 books of his own: Other Lives, Other Loves, a book of surrealistic poetry; How to Attract Your Love Life Partner, a holistic approach to the subject; and Developing Confidence in Self-Expression, using the voice as a tool. He was also a recording artist for Sigma Audio, who put out his LP album for guitar and voice titled Study in Longing. Mr. DeGesu's teaching philosophy goes like this. Life is a school. Life's pain, effort, activities, and interests are lesson books. In this school, there are 3 grades: body, mind, and soul. If we study our books well, we master each grade in succession, and on completion of the 3rd, we graduate from the school. Personal magnetism and the arts are excellent examples of these books. In teaching them, one must always remember that emotion brings about motion. In other words, if we communicate with emotion, we don't have to worry about the motion, which is the how-to. Using emotion triggers motion. As a law in teaching, this system is basically 3 things. True teaching, this is number 1, true teaching lies in the methodical and gradient presentation of the data to be applied, with an eye on the physical, mental, and psychical makeup of the individual. 2. A difficulty experienced by a person is not the difficulty, but something that was not comprehended or handled earlier. And 3. Personal magnetism and the arts are some of the most direct routes to mental symmetry, thus the best paths to self. Now, let's hear this great tape. Personal magnetism, creating a successful life in a confused world.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gilmagno de Jesus, and I'm sitting here by the seashore, listening to the beautiful sound of these waves. In front of me, there is a huge rock that reminds me of the secret of the ages. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but first, let us get to a place that is a little bit more quiet, where you can hear me more than the waves. Well, here I am again in a more quiet spot. You can still hear the waves in the background. I'm a little out of breath right now because I had to climb a hill to find a more quiet spot. I'd like to talk to you about personal magnetism and the personal magnetism home study course on all human powers. As I sit here seeing that huge rock, huge black rock, I'm wondering about what has taken place in this life, from the beginning of this life to the present and to where we're going. Personal magnetism is an attempt to answer some of these questions in a way that is practical and applicable to everyday life. But as I see far away all the sea in front of me in hues of green and blue, it's now sunset, and sunset is a very good time for retirement. In personal magnetism, we call retirement a time every day when the student takes time out to be with himself, to evaluate himself, and to practice some of the exercises that we learn on this great course. I look far away and I wonder about my childhood, about the place where I was born. I was born on an island surrounded by water, and this is why I have chosen this spot to talk to you, because I feel that it's very inspiring and fills me with wonder and excitement at the same time. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my childhood, not because I'm conceited or because I like to talk about myself, but because, you know, my childhood is probably like your childhood. We are all more or less alike. There are differences, but we're all more or less alike. And by talking about some of my childhood, you may be able to see yourself in this childhood. By the way, do you have childhood dreams? Do you still have your childhood dreams? This is very important. I was born on an island off the coast of Portugal, the island of Madeira. I was born on a little villa on top of a mountain that had been given to my father and my uncle as a school for the blind because my uncle was the probably the only teacher of the blind in the whole city. And there I was born. Beautiful, beautiful settings all around. I would see sugarcane fields, beautiful trees of all kinds of different fruits. I like to name some of those fruits because the names are very inspiring. We had, for example, pitangas, anona, uva, arasal, cana. These words, to me in childhood, meant poetry. There's something beautiful about these words. There's something beautiful about that whole setting in which I was born. My uncle, who was blind, also had the habit of walking around at night doing solfege, do, mi, sol, do, that sort of thing, all night long, or not all night long, but most of the night he would walk, pace back and forth, and do this solfege. And all of these things together gave me such a great inspiration for living, for aesthetics, for the beauty of life. The moon in Madeira is something else. To this day, I love the moonlight. In Portuguese, that word is luar. Beautiful moonlight. So you put all these things together: the moonlight, the fields of sugarcane, and the fruit trees and their names, and my uncle pacing back and forth, singing. It was a great, great thing to remember. Now, how much can you remember of your childhood? What happened to those dreams that you had in your childhood? Are they still there? We have to dream. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. We have to dream. From this little villa that I was born in, we moved and went to live in another house. And it was here that I had my first lesson in some of the principles that I'm going to talk to you about. My father was a great man who inculcated in me the values of the spirit and values of the mind and so forth. He studied metaphysics and mysticism. I can still remember as a little boy, I can remember him sitting down, meditating, doing certain yoga exercises, and he filled my head with all of these things. One thing that he never taught me was how to get along in a material world or how to be financially independent or how to have a lot of friends, but he did share with me all of these spiritual things that were very, very good for me. But the first lesson that I learned at this time was one that I shall never forget. He told me that if I ever wanted anything bad enough, that I should go off by myself, be all alone, close my eyes, say a little prayer, and visualize the thing that I wanted, and I would get it. Well, I did just that. I don't know how many times I did it, but I started going into the garden. I put my head against a banana tree, put rather my hands on a banana tree, my head on my hands, and I would say a little prayer, and I would visualize this little car, the type that you get in and pedal away. And I did that. I don't know how many times I did it, but I guess I did it a few times. Well, sure enough, a couple of weeks later, someone gave my grandmother one of those cars, and I shall never forget that incident. because these things do work. If you really want something bad enough, you can get it.